sort of a very hyphenated artist because I'm a composer performer. I'm a sound artist, an installation artist, electroacoustic musician, working with multimedia or intermedia, interdisciplinary work. So it's a broad range of things. And but I'm best known for my work, solo works for voice and electronics, in which I perform live using my voice and processing on usually on a MacBook Pro using software like Max MSP, and then using also wireless gesture controlled instruments to manipulate the sound and play sampled sounds, and then I combine all of those things into a performance. There's sort of three areas that I am interested in having people understand about me, and that is that I do these solo works for voice and electronics, that I have these chamber works that are like commissioned works from various chamber ensembles, that some of which I really am very fond of, and then I have a whole body of installation work. And I guess if you could say a fourth thing, which is sort of part of the first thing, I also have so I have these solo works for voice and electronics that are more kind of concert works, but I also have these more larger kind of theatrical works that involve like a set and a set design and lighting design and movement on a stage with lots of channels of projected image and things like that. So I guess that's kind of four types of work that I like to, if somebody has a well-rounded understanding of what it is that I do, I like them to be aware of all of those things. So my voice enters the computer through that device. And then in the computer, I have, in this program called Max MSP, I have these patches that do things like give me lots of digital delay lines and also access to various other processing plugins that do things like granular synthesis and pitch shifting and things like that. And then so in Max, I do all kinds of things to manipulate what's happening with my voice. And also I keep banks of sampled sounds that I've created, recording the sound of found objects or recording speech sounds or things like that. And then I create these little sound fragments that I also have access to. So that's all on the computer. Then I have these devices that are gesture control instruments, the things like this one, and another one that I have that uses light sensors, and then wearable ones that use various different sensors. And those via MIDI are communicating with the computer so that I can send commands to this program, MaxMSP, to change various parameters. I have a very dear friend and collaborator named Donald Swearingen who works with me on and like builds these things for me. They are all acting the same way as like a MIDI keyboard. They're just sending numbers to the computer. And so then it's my job to, when setting up any piece, to program the interfaces that are for these devices to interpret those numbers that come in. It wasn't until after I got out of school that I began to delve more into contemporary music and about ways in which I could actually combine my bel canto vocal technique with extended techniques or different vocal styles and different ways of working sonically. I think I sort of made that discovery through working with processing on my voice, using digital delay, and started really thinking more about layers and timbre and texture and repetition and process. And that really cemented for me the way that I like to approach making music or making sound. Deliberately choose these very broad, open-ended subjects. Things like what you were naming, like just the idea of memory, or just the idea of being a foreigner in the place where you live, or just language itself. I even made a piece that was all about math, and it was just about, mathematics and I like these sort of broader, more open-ended subjects better than really drilled down specific things, because it leaves it much more open for me to then build in whatever direction I want from that. And I kind of almost use the topics more as just an excuse, just something to hang the work on, And so because there's so many different directions from which I can explore it. So those are the kinds of subjects that I like, or things that are actually pretty broad and open-ended. But I love language. And so I love approaching it from as many different, like, for example, the Kronos Quartet piece was all about speaking accents. And it's just focusing on different ways that different people from different regions or different parts of the world pronounce the same words,
Born. I was born.
I was born.
Born.
I was born.
I was born. I was born. I was born.
I was born in Ireland, Tipperary.
I wasn't born in Japan.
I was born in South
I was born
Korea.
in Fort Smith,
Born.
in Western Australia.
I was
A
born
city called
in
I was
Milwaukee,
born in
Wisconsin.
Paris.
My father was born
over in Berkeley. I was born in Oakland, California.
Wyoming. I was born in Houston, Texas, and my mother was born in Los Angeles.
Born.
I was born in Leeds. I was born in Paris, of France, Northern
I
England.
was born in the state of Kerala.
I was born
South India.
City of Shelby,
North Carolina.
I was born in
Mexico City.
I was born
town.
in Memphis,
He's been out of
Tennessee.
Korea.
I was born in Houston, Texas.
On Long Island.
I was born in a very, very small little town or village, almost in south Sweden, called Laholm. Called Laholm. Called Laholm. Called Laholm. Called Laholm.
Welcome to Baggage Allowance. Be nosy. Thoroughly inspect every bag and open every trunk drawer. Take your time. You will uncover more if you linger. Weeping. The bottom.
This is a vintage suitcase. And they had a shoulder strap.
The heavy. I can't find sleeves and they have to go so much just step back. I can never decide what to keep. So I just keep it. Sometimes I can't decide not to know what money I just so I just